Pinheiro has us underway. Devin Tompkins into the end zone. Down to a knee. Remember the third year of this new kickoff rule. If it flies into the end zone, it's out to the 35, which is where Kirk Cousins will take over. Kirk, he was 5 of 6 in the opener, got one drive, led him down the field. And talking to him yesterday, Kirk Cousins told us so much about how he feels heading into the season.
I think I got smarter in that meeting. You talk about the quarterback position, I always lean on Rich Gannon, but I got so many nuggets and tidbits from talking to Kirk Cousins now going into his 15th year. He's played a lot of football, almost 6,000 throws in his career.
The Niners defensively, couple of starters on the field, but we expect to play most of their backups. It is Mike Washington pounding over a defender, carrying the opening handoff right through the middle for
at the cornerback spot. I love the way that Mike Washington finishes, right? Watch how he finishes. He keeps those pads square, and boom, sometimes you got to BYOB, be your own blocker.
I'm liking how that offensive line's finishing too, taking some guys to the ground.
Well, part of that offensive line in front of Washington, Jackson Powers Johnson. He is in there at right guard. Remember, he was dinged up before the Texans practice week, did not play. Washington again. Look at the block for the fullback Hayward to get him the first down. Well, this is an indication of the last couple of weeks what we will see this year. They've been in a lot of I formations with Connor Hayward here in the preseason.
The fullback position is alive, Rich. You play with a fullback.
I love it. John Ritchie in the house tonight as well with the alumni weekend. But, you know, look, we know Mike Washington can run the ball, but can he handle the passing game? And I think that's what we want to see a little bit tonight, you know, in terms of protection, in terms of responsibilities, and his ability to get out of the backfield and make some catches.
That is Brock Bowers at the top of your screen. He is split out wide. It is Bowers, and it is broken up. That is the aforementioned Jack Jones. And we saw it here over the course of a season and a half in Las Vegas. The ability to jump the route with pick sixes and the ability also to get beat for 50-yard passes.
Yeah, I just feel like that was a carbon copy of what we saw against the the LA Chargers a couple years ago, where he picked one off jumping right in front of it. That's a guy you don't want to throw a quick slant to that side. He's all over it.
8 career interceptions for Jones. He's got 4 touchdowns in what is now his 5th season out of ASU. Cousins back to the air. Good protection. Back to Bowers. And he is wrapped up. Tatum Bethune, 3rd year out of Florida State, one of the backup linebackers. It'll be 3rd down.
Really enjoyed our visit with Kirk Cousins yesterday and him talking about the tight end position. He feels really comfortable with that group. And, you know, even his comfort level with Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor. And I think he's trying to develop that rapport with some of those other young receivers. And I think every rep that he can get with some of those young, trust how those guys are going to respond week 1.
Well, and for Brock Bowers, you know, you just assume that is target number 1, and then from there you figure it out. Cousins came off the initial hit. He found Jalen Naylor. It's a 1st down. Between Bethune and the corner, Jacob Robinson, they move the chains.
It's a nice job on the protection. Remember, Mike Washington, his first opportunity in this protection. Watch number 30. He gets right there, the running back spot, scans back side. Nobody comes, gives a nice little pocket for Kirk Cousins to deliver, and a nice job by Jalen Naylor. You were just talking about him, Rich, and number 9 getting involved early on.
Kirk, I could throw from that pocket. That's a clean pocket. That's a good-looking job by the group up front.
Back in that old school I formation, toss play. Got 2 blockers out in front for Washington, and he gets into the secondary, brought down by Stroman. There is a flag down right around the line where Washington was taken down after an 8-yard run. Well, this line is absolutely pushing the Niners backwards every time they go to run the football, but we'll see what the flag is.
I love the fact that Clint Kubiak believes in having a fullback involved in the game plan. And it's going to be important for the Raiders this year.
Holding. Offense number 18. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
We talked a lot about Jalen Naylor. This is on Jack Besh, who's in the slot.
Yeah, we don't usually replay penalties, but I just want to watch the fullback and watch the tackle get out. This is good looking. And I think we're going to see more and more of this. They have to be able to lean on the running game this season. They were 32nd in each of the last 2 years. They need to be a top 10 rushing team, and there's no reason why.
Rich, almost 15 yards fewer than the 31st place team. There's Trey Tucker. And he picks up all of that penalty yardage and more. It'll be 2nd down and 4 coming up Trey Tucker, Kirk Cousins couldn't say enough great things about Tucker. He said, you know, in my 14 years in the NFL, had a lot of speed guys. Most of them want to do one thing. Trey Tucker's a different story.
What did he say? He said you have to try and overthrow him. Now think about that for just a second. You know, that's almost impossible. He's got what I would refer to as rare and unusual speed at the wide receiver position.
And he lines up all over the place. Played slot receiver in college at Cincinnati. He's in the backfield off that motion. And they throw it to Tucker. He's got one man to beat. Gets the sideline, first down. He left the rookie Jaden Duggar in his dust. Picked up 8 yards.
Well, let's take a look at the keys for success offensively this season for the Raiders. I thought about this in my hotel room today, guys. How about some continuity and improved play up front of the offensive line? That is the key. And then growth with Kirk Cousins.
And that man, we just saw Rick Dennison, the offensive line coach, experienced Super Bowl, been in the NFL for more than 3 decades. There've been, you know, we've had a chance to talk to a variety of the offensive linemen over the last 3-4 weeks. They have credited with his energy that he still brings all this time in the league.
30 years of NFL coaching experience. He was brought in to restore order along that offensive line. And if he works his magic like he normally does, this might be one of the most improved units in all of football.
And that unit right there, Miller, Burford, Linderbaum, and Glaze at right tackle. They've been working with the ones the entire camp. Been a battle at right guard. Jackson Powers Johnson and Caleb Rogers. Tonight's JPJ in his 3rd year out of Oregon. He gets the nod. 2nd down and 6 on a lengthy opening drive. Washington spun his way right into a tackle. Jalen Graham, 4th year out of Purdue, was the one who spun him backwards, and it'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Jason. Look, that's just 10 plays on this drive, and a lot of it is about Rico Dennison right there. We call him Rico around here, but look, you see the offensive lines that he's been a part of. And there's a reason why Clint Kubiak said, you know what, you're appointed to the group that needed the biggest jump, I think, in improvement from 2025
that's just since 2019. You go back to his days with Mike Shanahan in Denver. He's been around some good ones.
Now, 11th play of the drive. Kirk Cousins in his only drive in the preseason, game 1. 10-play drive, they scored a touchdown. This is already 5.5 minutes. Dylan Laube trying to push the pile. He's not going to get the first down. They ran it on 3rd down and 4. Pushed backwards. Are you going for this here?
Well, they ran it on 3rd and 4, knowing they were going to go for it on 4th down. I mean, that's what you have with a really good play caller. And of course, they kicked the field goal. You know, you run it in that situation because if you get 4th and a yard, you go for it. But they've got a long 2 or 3.
Yep.
It wasn't very good.
Well, remember, there is position battles everywhere. Matt Gay has been in a battle throughout the camp with Kansei Matsuzawa, although it seems that Gay has performed in games certainly top-notch. Made from 52 last week. The veteran this time from 37, out of the hole of A.J. Cole. And Kirk Cousins leads the Raiders on a scoring drive to open up. You're not going to see Brock Purdy. Not going to see most of the starters. Kalen Black, the starting running back, 3rd-round pick out of Indiana. It's Fernando Mendoza's teammate. Mac Jones chased down Quiddy Pay. Got about a couple of yards. Mac Jones known for a lot of things the last couple of years, running, not one of them. Now Trayton Stukes tonight getting the start for the Raiders. He has been working in and out with the ones over the last couple of weeks. The 2nd-round pick, Kirk, out of Arizona, and he is going with the ones tonight.
Yeah, it's been a slow process early on. He didn't make many plays to begin, but once the installs were done, you saw Trayton Stukes takes his play to another level.
He is so versatile. They have loved his ability to try and get that ball. Nobody home. Kalen Black was looking one way. Mac Jones threw it the other way, and just like that, it's 3rd down. And, you know, Rich, look, a lot of coaches around the league do it differently. Some play their starters. Kyle Shanahan's year 10. He's not playing his starters. But for Clint Kubiak, he has not seen the starting defense get really off the field. Remember, the Cardinals went right down and scored.
Yeah, I don't really care who plays for the Niners. I do care who plays for the Raiders and what we're doing to prepare for week 1. I think Clint Kubiak, it's important to him to see these guys play a few more reps together in week 3.
Here they come with a blitz. Mac Jones, deep shot to Watkins. Not there. Taron Johnson, like Velcro on the 2nd-year receiver. Listen, Waitman in his 4th year in the league, kicking away to Malik Benson. Seen a lot of Devin Tompkins on returns. This year, the rookie out of Oregon. And he is lit up immediately downfield for the Niners. Kadarrell Hodge, longtime special team great in this league. And he made a big-time play there, 53 yards. Kirk Cousins, he's coming out for series number 2. in the record book. Week 1, Raiders will host the Dolphins here at Allegiant Stadium. Washington bounces that outside. He rumbles for 14 more, and he has put on his ability all preseason to make some big plays.
Well, that's one of his best plays. It's a delay. But watch this block here by DJ Glaze. Gets his defender to come up the field. And Mike Washington does a good job of riding the wave. He kind of waits, and once that C kind of opens up in parts, he knows how to get from 0 to 60 real quick.
I love that he's had a number of explosive runs already this preseason.
He had a 33-yarder against the Texans, a 53-yarder against the Cardinals. He breaks another tackle and gets 5 or 6 here. Already so far in this ball game for Mike Washington, 6 carries for 33 yards. But more importantly, for this offensive line, Clint Kubiak said, hey, I need these guys to gel. And they've had that battle at right guard. Caleb Rogers is in on this series after JPG started the game. And they are putting it on the Niners here. This is the throw. Tucker gets a block from Colton Miller. Nobody saw the gentleman coming from behind. Obo Okoronkwo. Well, Kirk Cousins, first drive 4 of 5, 35, resulted in a field goal, 15th year. And as we were talking to him yesterday,
He seems to get a head coaching job. Clint Kubiak's the next one up.
Michael Mayer went in motion, breaks a tackle, and just can't keep his feet, but he's got a first down. But Rich, to that point, right? Your career in Minnesota, you finished strong here with the Raiders, an MVP late in your career and leading the team to the Super Bowl. That's something else Kirk Cousins told us yesterday. Look, Atlanta didn't go the way he thought it was. It didn't go well. But people remember how you finish.
Yeah, I think what a luxury for a head coach and an organization to have an air traffic controller. You know, a guy that's been around a lot of different coaches and systems of football. I love that he takes ownership. You know, he's in that meeting yesterday. He wants control in the huddle at the line of scrimmage. I think it's very helpful that he did spend 3 years together with Clint Kubiak in Minnesota.
Pocket holds. Mike Washington cannot hold on. Jalen Graham was out there to hit him right as that ball got to his fingers. And the other thing that, you know, Kirk Cousins told us is that, you know, the Atlanta situation, and this is well documented, he thought they were going there. They weren't drafting a quarterback. They take Michael Penix Jr. He's under no pretense about what this is. He knows what it is. The team knew what it was, and he signed here with all those expectations in mind.
Yeah, no mystery to what the long-term plan is. That's what he said. He said, we all know where this is headed. He said, I understood what I signed up for. But in the meantime, he's getting an opportunity to play with the ones, and I think he'll start the season for the Raiders.
To the ground, huge hole for Washington. Carries a defender for 11 yards. Ashton Davis, the veteran safety, was slow to get up for the Niners, and now he hobbles back to his feet.
Yeah, I want you to watch this block right here by Caleb Rogers. You want to talk about chin checking somebody? Watch what he does here. Knocks the helmet off. That's how you engage, but it allowed Mike Washington to get up the field.
Sense for the running game. He's just a very natural runner that bobs and weaves. Great ease.
Trying to set up the tight end screen to Michael Mayer. And a great play. Darrell Luter Jr. He played a lot last year, got a ton of first-team looks, 3 starts for the Niners, and that's a great open field tackle.
It's always difficult for a left tackle like Colton Miller. He's got to wait behind that line of scrimmage till the ball's thrown. And so you don't get the opportunity to get out there right in front to go make that play or make that block. And that's just a good play by Luter coming through and tackling Mayer right by the ankles.
We're talking all about what the Raiders want to see from their starters here. The reality for the 49ers, they were not good last year in the secondary. 25th against the pass. Remember, they only had 20 sacks, dead last in the league by a wide margin. Cousins finds Jack Besh. He sat down, picks up about 5 or 6. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Rich, you keep talking about this pocket. I mean, Kirk Cousins back there fanning himself. The way this offensive line has been blocking so far to start this game.
Well, he's a guy that can get really hot. And if you give him a clean pocket and there's not a lot of push up inside, he can sit in there and pick you apart. Very accurate thrower of the football. When you look at his numbers over the years, he's a 67% completion guy, and he's thrown for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. He's coming up on 300 career passing touchdowns. That should get done early this season.
He had 30 touchdowns 3 times in his career. 35 was his career high in 2020 with the Vikings. On 3rd down, that is a tough throw and great coverage. Saran Neal one-on-one with Jalen Nailor, got no space, and that goes back to what Clint Kubiak was talking about. He needs this receiver group to find a way to make some plays.
Yeah, a little bit better route here may get the job done. You got to be able to create some separation. That's actually pretty good coverage, though, truth be told. The guys that can create separation and really, most importantly, win versus man coverage.
Matt Gay last week hit from 52. This from 53. Cole puts it down, and he is still perfect here in the preseason. First team defense out here for a second series. That's a big gap to the outside that is closed. Kalen Black, such a violent runner. Nakobe Dean closed. And Rich, here are your defensive keys for the season.
Well, it all starts with being the more physical unit. They've got to dominate the line of scrimmage and stop the run. I think we talked a lot about this in week 1. They got to create more negative plays. Just 13 takeaways last season and 37 sacks, which was tied for 18th. And they got to get off the field on third down. 31st a year ago, opponents converted 46% of their opportunities on third down.
To the ground. It is a first down for San Francisco. Now, and again, the personnel is just so different, particularly up front. Now, we were not seeing Max Crosby tonight. He's the only expected Raiders starter defensively who is not playing tonight, and we have not seen him all preseason. But that being said, and Max will join us later on the broadcast, you asked Clint Kubiak who shined more than you expected, and that's the guy he points to.
Yeah, he's a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, he can really ruin a game plan by himself. What the Raiders need is they need more players that play with that intensity and that confidence and that swagger that we see from Max each week. And I think we talked a lot about it, guys, creating negative plays, sacks and forced fumbles, and taking the ball away in the secondary interceptions. They need to get their hands on more balls to be a better defense in 2026.
And there's a reason why they added 2 former Georgia Bulldogs. That confidence, that swagger, Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker.
Mac Jones with play action. He's got all day to throw. And a brilliant job by Eric Stokes. Stayed with Jordan Watkins all the way across the field to break it up.
And there's one of those Bulldogs as well, right?
Rookie Dejon Stribling hasn't played yet tonight. Raiders come with a blitz. Mac Jones off his back foot. No run home. Will Pauling, the intended receiver, the rookie out of Notre Dame, and it's 4th down.
But it's what Rob Leonard wants to see. We don't talk enough about Rob Leonard's defense. I mentioned it. The installs are now over. This is what a game plan looks like. They game plan for this offense for San Francisco. And watch how he's got pressure. They're bringing pressure without Max Crosby on the field, able to get an errant throw from Mac Jones.
Yeah, you got Johnson in a trail technique, playing man-to-man coverage with help from Stooks over the top.
Saw Malik Benson field the first punt. This time it's Dylan Laube. Scored a touchdown last week as the running back in that comeback against the Texans. He waves for the late fair catch, and he makes it at the 15-yard line. Set to throw on his first snap. He's hit. What a grab by Nailor! Mendoza was drilled as he threw it. It was way behind the free agent signing from the Vikings, and he hauled it in. That is a very exciting 5-yard play.
Really, watch him snap his head around. He knows he's got some push in his face. Just a great job getting it out. It's not a perfect throw, but under duress, that was well done by the rookie quarterback, and a great catch by Nailor.
And this is the tough part about Fernando, right? He takes a shot, he gets right back up. He's one of those quarterbacks that get right back up, pat you on the back, and say, keep it coming all game long.
I was rewatching yesterday the national championship game. He was bloodied, he was battered, and he led him to a national championship anyway. Over the middle, through the hands of Nailor, and intercepted. Tatum the third off of the pinball. And he's finally brought down by his former Niner teammate Spencer Burford. Nailor couldn't.
All right, now if I'm coaching the quarterback, I say maybe this is too tight a window, and it would have taken a perfect throw and coming out of your own end zone. This is one that I think you got to look somewhere else. You just watch it from the end zone copy. We're going to go ahead and freeze it right about there, and you just look. There's a lot of bodies around there. It would have taken a perfect throw. We talk about don't fight zoning linebackers and try and fit it over a linebacker between a safety. You're just asking for trouble.
I'll throw this in too, Rich. I've seen it in the first 2 preseason games with Fernando. I would tell my linebackers in game 3, get deeper in your throw and your depth.
Force him to throw the ball.
Force him to throw the ball.
Now, quick change here, and Adrian Martinez in at quarterback. And it's a toss play to Fernando's former college teammate, and Kalen Black, who rushed for 15 yards all the way inside the 10. First and goal, San Francisco.
Yeah, a lot of Indiana Hoosiers on that field this week.
No question, which brings us to the end of the first quarter. Raiders defense putting a little. He had that 14-yard run right before the end of the first quarter. He is violent, he is powerful. He's a 210-pound back, and he's short, kind of built like Ashton Jeanty, and he has it again. He got a couple of yards out of that, down to the 10. Officials come in to break things up. A couple of the Niners offensive linemen. Enrique Cruz Jr. was there with Trevin Ma'ai. Now Adrian Martinez, 47 starts between Nebraska and Kansas State, was undrafted free agent last year. Last couple of years back and forth, Niners and the Jets somewhere in between. Was the MVP of the UFL in 2024. He throws it short. Watkins in between three Raiders. Isaiah Polamau, the first hit. Tommy Eichenberg cleaned it up, and it's third and goal.
They had a nice job of retracing everybody playing their zone. You wait till someone comes in your zone and you got to tackle. Nice job of conversion by the defense. Here's a big third down. Earlier in the preseason, we saw the fade ball. So if I'm Jermod McCoy to the corner up top, if I'm Hezekiah Masses on the bottom, you're thinking a throw to the end zone.
Well, you've got three rookies in the secondary here on third and goal. You mentioned the two corners, Trayden Stukes, who started tonight, and staying in with this second unit. Martinez to the air, to the corner, and is broken up. Isaiah Polamau stepped in front of the tight end, Braden Willis, and it's fourth down.
It's a nice job by Polamau. You know why? Because he knew there was going to be traffic, and he got around the traffic. Meaning that, watch how he beats the traffic. See, he knows that there's traffic there. He gets over the top and able to get that right arm in, knock that ball away. That's a tremendous play by a player right now who's battling in a position battle with Trayden Stukes.
Eddie Pinheiro out of the snap of John Weeks in the hold of Corliss Wakeman. It is booted right through. And so
you want to get on the field a lot in the regular season, you got to be very proficient in the passing game at the running back position.
Devin Tompkins on the return with Roman Henby leading the way, and he takes it out past the 30 into the arms of Jalen Graham. And so Fernando Mendoza, and we're getting accustomed to that, right? Those jump squats in the air as he takes the field. Didn't watch him at Indiana, you didn't see it, he does it all the time. Last week, Rich, after the interception, he completed 6 consecutive passes after that. And so now, again, this is one of the things we have heard all off season. He does a great job of not making the same mistake twice.
Yeah, you know, I think every rep for him is a learning experience, and I think the speed and the pace of the game is a lot different, even what he saw last year in the Big Ten.
Dylan Laube in at tailback. Instead, it's a direct handoff to Devin Tompkins, trying to string it outside, and he cannot get there. Jacob Robinson, he set the edge and laid the line, and the second-year corner out of BYU with the stop.
Yeah, nice job by Robinson, because basically he's holding off Ian Thomas. He's the tight end to the left. And because he holds the edge, he forces Tompkins to go all the way outside. He just makes a play. You want to force Tompkins to go inside, and Tompkins just had nowhere to go. It's a nice defensive play. So you're seeing good defensive plays on both sides, the Raiders defense, also the 49ers defense.
And that is part of the natural grass here at Allegiant Stadium that is sticking out the top of his helmet. Natural grass, certainly a conversation here in the offseason. Mendoza back to the air, tough throw, Benson can't bring it in. Darrell Luter, who's had some really good coverage here in this opening half for San Francisco, was right there. It's 3rd and 10.
And that's something that we expected for Fernando. We saw that a lot at Indiana, the back shoulder throw. So cornerbacks, they know that, hey, at some point, Fernando's going to throw back shoulder. You've got to be able to play that route.
Well, all this for a new defensive coordinator for San Francisco as well. Raheem Morris, their new DC, took over for Robert Saleh, who's now one of the 10 new coaches in the NFL. He's with Tennessee. Pressure on Mendoza, and down he goes. Pressure came through. Keon White, the former Patriot, gets the sack, and the Raiders go 3 and out.
Yeah, there's just miscommunication up front. When you got these twists and stunts, you've got to make sure you get a hand down. So watch him. He comes here late. and they're just they couldn't pass it off. It's between the guard and the center. You've got to be able to stab with one hand and still be able to stay on your guy. Just a miscommunication. And there's a sack on Mendoza.
So Jordan Watkins back deep to receive the punt from A.J. Cole. That punt comes right to him where he was standing. He gets around one defender and into the Raiders bench. Patrick Gurd, the backup fullback, for when he retired, 52 touchdowns, over 5,200 receiving yards, 7 of his 11 seasons here with the Raiders.
It's pretty incredible when you think about all those Hall of Famers on one team. I mean,
sure.
Coaches, owners, assistant coaches. Of course, Tom Flores went on to be a great head coach for the Raiders. But man, what a lineup.
To the ground, Tommy Eichenberg standing his ground. Jordan James about a yard or two shy. J.J. Pegues in on the tackle as well. You know, we started this broadcast, guys, by talking about who's going to make the 53-man roster. And all the teams around the league, that decision will come Sunday. The final preseason games tonight, tomorrow, and then for 14. Fill those final 4, 5, 6 roster spots, both on the offensive and the defensive side of the field. Adrian Martinez took over for Mac Jones. He hands it off to Jordan James again. Cody Lindenberg, first man through. Patrick Johnson. He is there again. We are getting a whole lot of 93 here in this preseason.
Yeah, there's just the penetration by this defensive front of the Raiders. You want to talk about building a wall. This is how you build a wall of defenders. There's just no push. The 49ers are trying to find and get push, and a nice job by filling by the corners. And Patrick Johnson, number 93, he's been one of those heroes in the preseason trying to earn a roster spot.
He's got 2 sacks. That is his 4th tackle for loss here in the preseason. 6th year out of Tulane. Most of that early part of his career with the Eagles, had a year with the Giants, and then back to Philly last year. Laube calls for the fair catch with Jacob Robinson right in his face. It's 43 on the punt. It is nothing on the return. Fernando Mendoza yet to get things moving here for the Raiders offense. His 3rd drive when we come back.
Technique, technique, technique. That's what he preaches.
Raiders come out running. Dare Ogunbowale gets the carry, and he is ridden down to the turf after a pickup of 6. C.J. West in on the stop.
And Ogunbowale is one of those guys, a veteran in this league, plays special teams. I believe he also kicked a field goal before, right, in the league. So he can do a lot on special teams, but right now he may be thrust into a much bigger role at the running back position early on.
You know, you and I did the entire radio season last year. We'll have your number 2 this year. You know that is definitely not right. That is a false start. you know that I pride myself on prep on all guys who I do not have that written down. I'm going to guess that you just taught me something.
Oh, did
Full start. Offense. Everybody but the center.
All right.
5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's Trey Zoom.
Well, if you were counting how many everybody's but the centers we've had here in the preseason, that is 2 on the Raiders. The last one was Jordan Meredith. Trey Zoom tonight has been getting the look, 2nd team center, and you know he's doing that rare. You don't see it all that often, Rich, but Trey Zoom's working right tackle and center. Right, it's more usually guard and center.
Yeah, you're looking for position versatility, and certainly he has that.
Back on the ground to Ogunbowale, who's tripped up on the outside. Solid open field tackle. Saran Neal has played a solid first half here for the Niners.
We always talk about the more you can do. We're just talking about contribution.
3rd down and 5. Jack Besh is on the field. Bottom of the screen. Mendoza has good protection. Laube. Oh, he got through a pair of defenders. That was not going to be a first down. And he picked up 12 yards after he had a pair of Niners whiff.
That's how you do it. You squeak through. It's a zone. And so watch how Laube sits it down and he makes himself available. Watch how he shows the hands. See? Shows hands.
And he splits them.
He splits them. That's a nice job. Remember, we've seen this before. Remember, Mike Washington drifted last week, the interception from Mendoza. This time you see Laube.
No, he's a guy who made the roster 2 years in a row on special teams. Mendoza sacked from behind. Oh, Mo Okoronkwo. That is a loss of 9. But, you know, back to Dylan Laube. He's a guy who made this team for 2 years because of special teams.
Correct.
It feels like if preseason's an indication, he will have a role on the offense this year. Kind of looks like maybe that third down back for the Raiders.
I think that it's protection. And right now they trust him in that protection role. And it just goes to show how much and how important Ashton Jeanty is to this offense, by the way.
Mendoza trying to set up the screen, and he dumps it at the feet. Alfred Collins was first man through, and then he started tracking down for the running back.
You know, we talk about the importance of that third down back, right? And so what's really critical, I know it's set to the quarterback.
Can I get that one more time?
RCE, okay. Recognition, communication, and execution.
See, I take notes, Rich.
Like third down and 19, they hand it off to Laube. Collins on the tackle. So the Raiders will have to punt. The offense tonight with the starters, Kirk Cousins, over 100 yards on a couple of drives, a couple of field goals. 3 drives at this point for Fernando Mendoza has been a different story.
Yeah, and I think what I'm seeing too is this second group of offensive linemen have not really helped out Fernando. He's been under duress. He's been sacked a couple times. He just.
I always love his line. Are you willing to go longer and harder than your opponent? And that's what we need from these offensive linemen.
And around the reverse to Jordan Watkins, who gets a block, and he's got 15 yards. Jermod McCoy tackled him up high. And Matt Jones wanted a penalty on that. It's first down.
A little bit of gamesmanship here. Remember, the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers is a Kubiak.
Yeah.
Clay Kubiak. So they're digging in the bag of tricks early on. Little reverse. And a nice job of recovery by Jermod McCoy, making a tackle on what could have been an even longer play.
What about Clint telling us what you guys going to do? How many fronts you're going to play? What kind of runs you're going to have?
Trying to get bragging rights for Thanksgiving, Rich.
Set up the screen to Jordan James. He's got 2 blockers in front. They set that up beautifully. And Jordan James inside Raiders territory for 20 yards. Jordan James fractured his ribs the second day of training camp. He just returned this week into what has become kind of a crowded backfield. They've had a lot of injuries in their running back group. He picked up 20 yards on the screen.
Yeah, we've seen Kalen Black. This is Jordan James now. We know Christian McCaffrey's on this roster. They traded away Zamir White, the former Raider of a year ago. He was on the roster. They trade him to New Orleans. So they've got a bunch of backs all trying to find a way to get on the field.
Now, you mentioned the former Raiders. Here's Sincere McCormick, who is upended by Massis. That is a pickup of 6 yards. Sincere McCormick, undrafted free agent 2022. He was hurt right when he got to the Raiders. Never really got a chance to play in 2022. Had that 2 really good games for the Raiders. But he is with San Francisco trying to make their way. Back to the ground. James cuts it outside, and he is met in the hole. Kean Sloan and Trayton Stukes came up to make the stop as well. And it's third down.
Officials timeout for a virtual measurement.
All right, we haven't had this yet here in our 2 preseason games. All right, 3rd and inches here for Adrian Martinez.
3rd and short defense.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know that he got there.
No, he didn't. I'm watching the official up top. He's short.
That is Folo Fatukasi holding on to the shoulders. He popped last week, too, with a couple of plays behind the line of scrimmage, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, Fatukasi and also Jonah Laulu. Nice little combo of those 2 guys. Being stout in the middle.
Just watch the penetration.
I watch the helmets, Rich.
They knock them back.
You see, the Raiders, the silver helmets are on the gold helmet side. That tells me it's good penetration, but also that there was just no movement by the 49ers.
All right, so if that was 3rd and 10 inches, this is about 4th and maybe a 1.5 feet. Martinez on the rollout. Kean Sloan can't get his hand on it. It's a first down. Hayden Rucci, the tight end. That was just over the outstretched arms of the rookie Sloan. It's 10 yards and a 4th down conversion.
I think the only coaching point here for Sloan is that right now you just got to go to your defender. See, right now, go. See, he's looking back at the quarterback. If he runs right to that tight end, he's maybe able to knock the ball away or play the hand. See, right now, you're looking at the quarterback. He's not going to throw it to you. go to the intended receiver because you already had another defender who was chasing down the quarterback. That's the only coaching point, but good recognition of the play.
He knew his assignment. To the ground on first down. That's a big hole. And James gets away from Stooks for an extra 5 yards. It is first and goal after a 17-yard gash play.
A lot of movement for this 49ers offensive line. A lot going into the backfield. Watch all the movement. You got guards pulling, but you got
on first and goal and met in the hole. Jordan James driven back. It'll be second down and a timeout taken by
First.
Clint Kubiak.
Charge
Raiders take their timeout.
Las Vegas.
And they've got 2 left. And, you know, we've talked a lot
This
tonight
will be
about
a
some of the greats and the way that the
timeout.
Raiders do
Please set
alumni
the
weekend. It
game
is
clock
always
for
during the
1:55,
preseason.
please.
And I've shared this. My first game with the Raiders,
Thank
right? I get hired about 2 weeks before Cliff Branch is inducted into the Hall of Fame. And
yeah.
we go to Canton, Ohio, and there's the Hall of Fame game. And what do we have? We have a lightning delay right on my first Raiders broadcast. You get a chance to sit with Mark Davis, who was so close with Cliff Branch, and all of the Raiders legends. And that's what, you know, Clint Kubiak's talked about the intensity, bringing back the culture. It's been a long time. Raiders, such an important franchise in this league. Got to get back to those winning ways.
No question. I think it's with the head coach and quarterback. I mean, I think we just look at our division, and we have a top-heavy division right now. Either Kansas City or Denver has won the division every year.
Offense. Everybody but the center. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Feels like John Hussey wants to do open comedy night.
Yeah, but just getting back to the AFC West, I mean, the Chiefs and Broncos have won the division every year since 2009. So, you know, what do we need? We need that head coach and quarterback. That's the key. You look at those teams, they have it. And there's been way too much turnover with respect to those 2 positions.
The pressure by Pegues. And he got his hands on it. And so now it is third and goal coming up here.
No, Rich, I go back to what you're talking about. Being there in the Coliseum, 2003, the last time the Raiders won a playoff game. The last time they won even a home playoff game. I remember what that buzz and that feeling felt like. And this organization has been thirsting to get back to that level of play that your squads had for those years. They're hoping to take that step with Clint Kubiak.
That's the play of the drive. Martinez certainly can scramble. He's got a long way to go, and he got a lot farther than it looked like. Eichenberg chased him out of bounds.
Well, if you just
picked up about 7.
If you just look at the division, you've got Sean Payton and Bo Nix. You've got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. You got Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. And you know, those guys aren't going anywhere. And we need.
The difference, though, is that the 3 coaches in the division are much towards the end of their career.
Sure.
Right? Not that it's necessarily imminent,
but
we
can't have turnover every year, every other year at that position. That's what's really held back this organization the last decade.
Pinheiro good from 24. He is now good from 25. And the game of
players to attend alumni weekend. That just tells you that everybody wants to be here. It's like my family reunion, I call it, being here every single year for alumni weekend.
Devin Tompkins nowhere to go, got away from one, and he is just tripped up from behind. Making the tackle and battle cancer. 1:31 to go here before halftime. Dylan Laube starts it off with a run, and he picks it out to the 34. He's got 6. Raiders do have a pair of timeouts left if they can move down the field with 80 seconds before halftime.
What are you saying in Fernando Mendoza's head right now, Rich?
Well, there's got to be some tempo. They're getting in the huddle now. I just want to see him make good decisions. I want him to see him be in control. This is a great opportunity to execute a 2-minute drive and come away with some points before the half. No sacks in this situation. There you go.
Brody and Thomas is close to the first down. A near side official came in and said he has the first down, so they will move the chains. I think you got to have a little bit more urgency. You do have the 2 timeouts.
Good throw.
Brandon Johnson went low to make the catch, and then Clint Kubiak does take his second timeout.
The one thing that's been impressive with Fernando
Las
Mendoza is, you watch the
30-second timeout.
You watch the preseason games. He's done a good job working through his progressions. He doesn't get stuck. If a guy's not open, he gets to the second, he gets to the third. Don't typically see that with a lot of young quarterbacks.
Game clock operator, please set the game clock to 35 seconds, please.
I would say I want to see him work on that ending. because I feel like he goes through the progressions, and once he's finished, it's like, okay, what do I do now? And then that's where he either gets the sack, he gets hit. I want to see him learn how to lead.
Now, Matt Gay's career long is 58, so you're only about 12 yards away from that. Empty set here for Mendoza. Down the sideline, Benson brought it in, but he's out of bounds and a flag. Neal in on coverage. Benson was not in bounds, but it's going to be a pass interference.
Benson didn't leave him a lot of room on the boundary. He's got to help the quarterback, give him a little bit more space and not get pushed.
And I think that's what the officials are talking about right here, right now.
Watch how wide he gets pushed to the boundary. There's not a lot of space here for Mendoza to fit
Pass
that one in.
interference. Defense, number 33. Ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Just like that, you're in field goal range.
But now a lot changes because of that penalty. Because I'm thinking field goal, but with 30 seconds left and one timeout, I'm thinking I may have a couple of shots at the end zone.
You got some chances here.
You got some chances now.
You got plenty of time. Another completion or two and take a couple shots.
Neal was asking where was the flag. He was looking at the ball. There's a lot of the Niners fans in attendance. You hear those boos. Mendoza comes back to Ian Thomas. It's a short gain. He is driven back by Jaden Duggar, rookie out of Louisiana, who last year was a tackling machine. Back to Thomas. He dropped it. Now he'll stop the clock with 5 seconds left.
That's what you learn about clock management. You got to call that timeout.
There's other ways. I think that they should have used the timeout there, Kirk. You're absolutely right. There's other ways to stop the clock. You can get out of bounds. You can clock it. You can have an incompletion. You can have a defensive penalty. They waste a lot of time trying to get that play snapped.
I'll take the time over timeouts.
No question.
You know what I mean? Give me more time. I can create ways to stop it there.
Matt Gay is hit from 37. He has knocked one in from 53. This from 45. And he is responsible for all 9.
They've been able to have a true game plan, and I just see a much improved defense from the beginning of training camp to where they are now, finishing up the preseason.
Khalil Herbert, a couple of yards out of the end zone. Keelan Sloan in on the special teams tackle. Buddy Johnson over there as well. Those first half stats are brought to you, by the way, by Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel, voted #1 casino outside of Vegas by Newsweek. Must be 21 or over to enter. Please gamble responsibly. Adrian Martinez, Mac Jones had the first couple of drives, ran the ball hard. Those two guys 10 carries for 57 yards. Martinez with some pressure goes the other way to Dinkins, the backup tight end, and he's tripped up by Greedy Vance. Remember, Vance had 10 tackles
right.
In the opener against Arizona.
He's not afraid to come up and put a hit on you. And that's what you have to do on the outside. It's one-on-one, you and the wide receiver or the tight end, and he's not afraid to go make some contact, force it to a minimal gain.
Martinez back to the air. It's the sideline. It's incomplete. Jermont McCoy in on the coverage. Daryl Hodge, the intended receiver.
You know, the one thing that's really clear to see is
got some third down, little double mugs in there. I like this.
Those mugs are Lindenberg and Shegu Alubi. They backed out of there. Martinez with pressure from behind, and he's sacked from behind. The pocket eventually collapsed. It's the rookie Kieron Crawford. Last week he had a huge run stop. That time it's a loss of 3.
Yeah, he's only got one speed, and that's just go fast all the time. He's a physical player. Comes out of Auburn, was at Arkansas State previous, but watch him. This is the effort. Watch the effort. See, he gets up, he's behind the quarterback. He doesn't stop. Look, I see, oh, I got it. There he is. Boom, make a play. And then the coverage behind, sticky. Greedy Vance, Jermont McCoy, Hezekiah Massis up top. Much improved defensive backs, young guys, from what we saw in the first week of preseason.
Yeah, one of the positives, right? That first game against Arizona, they had 5 scoring drives to start. They had a big-time pass plays from Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. Luke Benson is in trouble, and he's dropped at the 11-yard line. But it's been a different story, right? The last 5-6 quarters of football for the Raiders defense. McCoy, Massis, right tackle, with Jordan Meredith taking the snaps. Mendoza looking for the release, and he put it too high for Ian Thomas. Mendoza 5 of 9 in the first half, 38 yards. He had that interception on his second pass of the game. If you're just joining us, Kirk Cousins got the start, went 8 of 11 for 51 yards, had 2 drives, and the Raiders had a pair of field goals out of those first 2 drives.
There's just not enough reps for Fernando Mendoza. I mean, he needs as much work and practice in these preseason games as he can get.
Wale picking his way out across the 20. The offensive line trying to drive. He's about a yard shy. And that gets into an all season long question here, Rich. When you have the #1 pick in the NFL draft, yes, Clint Kubiak has said, hey, I want all my guys competing. He has not come out and said, hey, this is my starter for week 1. But Kirk Cousins has gotten the starting reps. As you get into the season, then what do you do with the #1 pick and trying to get him those reps?
Well, they'll know when it's time, but yeah, he'll get as many reps in practice as he can, and a lot of it maybe after practice with some of the young guys. That's the challenge, because as you guys know, once the regular season starts, the focus shifts to the starters. And we got to get Kirk Cousins, you know, the majority of the reps, but at some point, you know, we're going to see a change, and I think the Raiders understand the importance of a solid infrastructure around a young quarterback, and so many of the moves this offseason were with supporting Mendoza in mind. It takes some time for Mendoza to reach his ceiling.
Toss play to Agumbawale. He is met and driven to the turf. Ashton Davis. Raiders picked up that first down for the hometown. American First Credit Union will be donating $100 to a local charity for every Raiders first down inside Allegiant Stadium this season. And that conversation, which, look, it's a natural one to have, right? Because 2018 Baker Mayfield, that is the last time a first overall pick quarterback did not start week 1. And all signs are pointing to that happening this year. So that conversation of when does he play, you know, it'll be dictated obviously by how the season goes.
Yeah, it could be week to week. I mean, it's just it's the nature of our business. Throw it away.
Now he stays on his feet and he picks up nearly the first down. That looked like it was disaster.
He just feels it. We saw him do this countless times at Indiana, at Cal. He has the instincts that, you know what, I can make a play when the defense gives me that opportunity and just avoid the major hits. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's athletic enough to run for a couple first downs each week. I think that's really important at that position.
Right, he just ran for a first down. He got low, QB sneak right through the middle, picks up 2.
You know, I just remember when I was the quarterback of the Raiders, we hired Jim Harbaugh to be a quarterback coach one year. And what Jim Harbaugh would do every Saturday morning, he would come in and he'd give the other quarterbacks a quarterback test. Find out what they knew. I was getting all the reps. I didn't have to take the test, but Bobby Hoying and Marcus Tuiasosopo, they had to take the test. If I'm coaching this young quarterback, I'm going to find out where he's at mentally each week. If he's not getting the reps in practice, we're going to give a test every Saturday morning to make sure he's keeping up with the game plans. You got to find creative ways. You got to find creative ways to get him. If it's not the physical reps, we got to find creative ways to get Fernando Mendoza mental reps.
First down.
That is Victor Dimukeje.
Yeah, I think I'll add on to what you're talking about, Rich, as well. And in talking to Kirk Cousins yesterday, how much of a collaborative effort that quarterback room is. It's not just one guy leading the group. They have healthy conversations about the game plan. And what do you like, Aiden O'Connell? What do you like, even Jacob Clark, Fernando, Kirk Cousins? That's a good room Coach Sullivan
and he's
has going
sandwiched, as you point out, Kirk, he's sandwiched between 2 veteran quarterbacks. I think Aiden O'Connell could be a real asset in his growth and development as a young quarterback. That's why I think they'll keep 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah. That's a big question mark, right? Will the Raiders keep 3 quarterbacks because of what Aiden O'Connell showed us last week in the preseason game against Texans? Goes 96 yards, leads the team to a victory, and he doesn't get those reps with the 1s and 2s. He's doing it with some 3s, 4s, and even 5s if you got them. So it shows you just the knowledge in that room, led by some guys who've got some big reps in big games.
Back to the ground to Agumbawale. Got about 2 or 3.
Well, I said this last week that, you know, Aiden O'Connell in his 4th season, he's had 4 different head coaches and 6 different play callers. That's insane. It's not the way you want to develop any young quarterback, but he's been through a lot. He's a pretty resilient guy, and I think he can be a real asset in that quarterback room. I think he's got command of the offense. I think his real strength is from the neck up, as Coach Kubiak told us, and he's been working with Fernando Mendoza, and he's been willing to help the young quarterback, and that's how you get better, when you have a quarterback room where the guys enjoy one another's company and set their egos aside to work together to find wins.
Trying to pick up 3rd down. He goes to his college teammate Roman Hemby. He and Kalen Black were the battering duo for Indiana last year. Black's on the 49ers sideline. Hemby's first action, and he picks up the 1st down.
That was always an indicator for me when I had the running back in coverage as a linebacker. When that running back turns around, shows hands, now we got to converge and make a play. But these are how these backs are going to learn. Get that and get vertical. Nice job there by Hemby.
Roman Hemby, his time at Maryland, last year at Indiana, over 4,500 yards from scrimmage, and he has the carry. And he is drilled. Jalen Graham came up to make the stop. Tatum Bethune, who had the interception in the 1st quarter, is the one who forced him back inside. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Well, as they were walking off and Clint Kubiak put on the headset right before halftime, he said, "I want to run the football."
Get out of here. You know, getting the last preseason game, the last thing you want to do is see somebody get hurt.
Mendoza dumps it to Hemby again. Bounces off of one defender. Has the 1st down. It's 14 yards.
I love his knowledge of the zone right there. When I say knowledge of the zone, is watch Hemby. He's looking at the linebacker. He knows I'm going to turn to my left away from that linebacker who's coming from the right side. So he's aware of where he's at on the field. The spatial awareness, grab the football, turn left, get vertical.
And the quarterback is the eyes for the back who's got his arm open. You want to throw it to his left shoulder so he'll turn to his left.
Another tackle for Jaden Duggar, the rookie out of Louisiana, who now has 8 in the ball game. And these are important reps too. You know, it's not so much position-based when you talk about the last 5 to 8 guys on the roster, and Ogunbowale, Roman Hemby trying to make a spot here.
I think we can't forget also too about this practice squad. You got 16 players, and we've seen the early parts of NFL seasons. How many times we've seen a guy called up from the practice squad week to week squad as well, who are 1 play away from going in.
Mendoza rolled out right into a heavy pressure.
Number 80 was an eligible receiver in the area. 3rd down.
Now, they did say that there was a receiver in the area, but it'll be 3rd down and 5.
You've got to have your head on a swivel. You're just going to see this blitz coming, and you don't want to run a boot or a naked into an unblocked 2 look, and that's a free rusher, and that just comes with experience for the young quarterback. He had no chance in this situation.
How can you see that late though? With that late
2-point stance, we don't want to boot into that look. And that just comes with experience, seeing the linebacker come from depth.
Raiders are 6 of 10 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 5. Trying to keep the play alive downfield, and he throws it away. And so the Raiders will send out Matt Gay to try a 54-yard field goal.
Just watch Benson. This is a bad rep. Just watch the scramble. Okay, keep an eye on 19. Okay, he gets knocked down. Now he gets up. Now watch. Oh, yeah, he gets out of the pocket. That's where you got to come to life.
Matt Gay's 3 for 3 in the ball game. This from 54, and it's no good. Back to the ground at Jordan James. Cameron McGrone through the hole to make a tackle after a gain of 1. That's how I feel like a lot of people at home on a weekly basis screaming at their TVs. What's so hard about that?
It's difficult. Watch 57 here. You see space, go run space. You go make a nice little tackle for loss. That's a nice job by McGrone, seeing it and going to go make a play, untouched.
McGrone 4 games with the Colts last year. Signed with the Browns, played 1 game in Cleveland. Former 5th-round pick of the Patriots back in 2021. Been a lot more on the special teams. And another
so with these centers not snapping
penalty.
the ball.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man, sleep at the wheel. Those are the kind of mistakes.
False start. Offense. Everybody but the center. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Rich, you've been in the NFL either a player or as an announcer now for 40 years. Have you ever had a game where that has been called 3 times?
It's unbelievable. You know, there's one thing coaches won't tolerate, and it's pre-snap penalties. Like, you know, it's hard enough to make first downs, but when you're constantly going backwards, and I know a lot of plays on my play call sheet for 2nd and 14. That's the problem.
Well, John Hussey's had some practice calling that. Watkins on the quick throw. There's McGrone again. So last week we saw a lot of Shegu Alubi making some plays on defense. He's been known for special teams. Same for McGrone. It's 3rd and 12.
So the one thing that you'll notice when a lot of these guys who are on the field now, to me, these are guys who are primarily special teams players, and they're getting their opportunity on defense. So one thing you will see are guys flying around and making plays.
Yep. Niners are 0 of 7 on 3rd down here in this ball game. Raiders have only allowed 9 points after the first quarter last week in Houston. They back out of the blitz. They come with 4. Martinez to Watkins again. Beautiful touch just over the outstretched arms of the corner, Devin Perkins. That's a pickup of 19.
You always hate when you have, watch the rush on the outside. Watch this good rush. You feel like you waste a rush. Jafari Harvey gets up. He's almost there. You need him to hold it for a beat. But a nice throw. You got to give Martinez a nice pat on the back on this one. A nice throw right over the safety, right in front of the corner for the connection.
2:45 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Raiders had a more than 7-minute, 15-play drive. Came up without points. Fly sweep to Watkins. Raiders stretch it out. Dalton Johnson, the 5th-round pick. You know, the Niners have this plethora of wide receivers. We talked about it earlier. No team's keeping 8 wide receivers.
Right.
And so, you know, there are teams all around the league who are looking at some of those 6th, 7th, 8th guys for the Niners, being like, hey, do they fit for our roster?
Well, that's just one position. I mean, I think every organization's got scouts, advanced scouts looking at both these teams. Everybody's looking for ways, creative ways to improve the roster this week.
Jordan James has the first down. Greedy Vance again on the tackle. It is 1st and goal San Francisco as we tick inside of 2 minutes here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this is where I've seen the Raiders defense today stand tall. They force field goals inside in the red zone here. So this is where guys have to find a way not only to bow their neck, but more importantly, I've loved the coverage down here. It's been very sticky coverage. We saw in preseason game number 1, guys having to finish. This is where man-to-man on the outside is paramount.
Martinez has the tight end, Hayden Rucci, in as a fullback. To the air, he's got Rucci, reaches for the goal line, touchdown San Francisco. Now there is a flag down that was in the backfield, so we will see if this touchdown for San Francisco stands.
Personal foul, illegal low block, offense number 29. 15-yard penalty for previous spot, first down.
You know, watch here, and then the block's gonna be right there. See, late, you got Patrick Johnson gets up, and then you have the defender. It's almost like a high-low. You had one guy who was going for him, like he was gonna block. He bluffs, and then goes out for the score. But gets a running back.
I think it's a bad call. I think he was clearly disengaged.
And now you got another penalty coming up.
Pre-snap penalties. Jeez, oh man.
This is about to be the 7th penalty on the
False
49ers.
start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty, first down.
We talk about it. You can't have these kind of mistakes in the red zone area. We talk about no penalties, no sacks, and no turnovers. Been impressed with what I've seen from this Raiders defense tonight, though, guys.
Yep.
I think the execution, I think the assignment,
especially from the cornerbacks and safeties.
Well, Patrick Johnson and Kieran Crawford, those two guys coming heavy. They get it out on a quick throw, and Dalton Johnson, there's the tackle you were talking about. Nowhere to go for Kaderil Hodge. And now it's 2nd and goal from the 30.
You know what's great to see? You just can't see it from, you just watch.
Watch the clinic tape right here. Watch how he comes to balance. You see that? And he finishes. That's good tackling by Dalton Johnson, one of those draft picks this year for the Raiders, a guy who's starting to see more and more playing time, and there's the reason why right there, a solid tackle in the open field.
Dalton Johnson, the pick used by the Raiders when they sent Tyree Wilson to New Orleans. Over the middle, batted up in the air, and it was behind Greedy Vance off the deflection. It was Shegu Alubi in on coverage. And again, we talked about this last week, Kirk, on the radio broadcast. Alubi's not a guy who's played a lot of defensive snaps in his career, mostly special teams, but he had some good ones last week.
And watch what he just lets the quarterback's eyes take him to the play. He sits in his zone, waits for that quarterback to deliver the football, and almost
down to 1. They get it off. Raiders come with 4. Martinez escapes the pocket, left it short, incomplete. Cameron McGrone in on the coverage on Rucci. And so what looked like a Niners touchdown, the penalty took that off the board, and they will have to settle for a lengthy field goal attempt.
You know,
there is a Raider down, slow to get up. It is Kieran Crawford. You know, we never get the opportunity to be with the front office when they see that. Obviously, you'll find out what that means later. But what is the first thought when you see something like that?
Well, you hope it's he's going to be okay. And you know, I have a lot of empathy for these guys. It's one of the worst parts of this job. When you see a cart come out there, you see a cart go into the locker room, and you know, we try to have positive vibes around those guys and wish them the best. But it's a reality of our profession, and there's going to be injuries, and it's an opportunity for somebody else to step up.
The third quarter.
All right, we got all these weird breaks here late in the third quarter. John Spytek's going to stick around with us here for the start of the fourth quarter on the other side. 9-9 game.
John, I know we haven't seen Max Crosby in a preseason game, but what we've seen from him at practice throughout training camp, to me, he's on a mission this season. What have you seen from Max, and obviously the offseason that he's had?
I've seen the tireless worker that I've come to know over my first 18 months on this job. He wasn't always out there on the grass with us in the OTA part of the schedule, but he's really thrown himself into the teammates. He's trying to lead. He's trying to show guys what it takes to be a great player at this level, and I've been impressed with just him embracing team first mentality and you know, really rooting his teammates on through this preseason.
Max, the only of the defensive starters who did not play tonight, and as Kirk mentioned, has not taken a preseason snap. Derek Young.
Right, and it's not necessarily how you start. Remember what happened last year, guys. The Raiders went on the road. You guys were there week 1. They beat the Patriots.
Yep. Geno Smith threw for 360
and everybody
yards.
thought, geez, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. This is awesome. And the Patriots, they're going to run Mike Vrabel out of town in year 1. Well, they make it to the Super Bowl. They win 14 games. I'm just telling you, you know, it's all about building. It's all about getting better each week. This is going to be a work in progress, the silver and black. But I'm excited about the leadership that we have in Clint Kubiak and John Spytek. And I think this organization is heading in the right direction.
J.J. Pegues throws Sincere McCormick backwards, picked up maybe a yard.
You just really feel, at least I do anyway, that there's a real plan in place this year, right? In terms of the development of the young quarterback, the selection of the young quarterback, the ability to go out and get a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins who can kind of hold the fort down until we get our young quarterback ready to roll. Some of the changes that we've made defensively. You know, I'm excited. I mean, I think, you know, the promotion of Rob Leonard, I think he's going to do a great job calling the plays on defense. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, though. It's a tough schedule. I mean, you look at the first 5 games, Miami, you got to go on the road to Los Angeles, New Orleans. Right. You get the Chiefs, and then you got the Patriots. I mean, it's not easy.
And remember, you know, New Orleans, people look at the schedule when they're trying to find Raiders wins. Like they say, they won, what, 5 of their final 6 games last year, 6 of their final 7 games.
And they got a young quarterback that they're excited about in Tyler
Well, he's not young. Not young.
Well,
he's in his second year in the league.
He's young in the league.
None of these guys are young anymore when they come out of college.
That's true.
And now some of them aren't young when they go back to college after getting cut from a roster.
It's a different world. It's the wild, wild west when you look at college football nowadays.
Now 3rd down and 12. The Niners just 1 of 9 on 3rd down. Raiders coming with a blitz. Martinez to Rucci. Sloan can't make the tackle. And it's a 1st down.
That's always a difficult one. You see Sloan there, he's upset at himself because he's got the play, right? He gets width. So I would say get more width and look at the angle. See, he's at the near hip. He's got to get to the outside hip. Get in front so that that play won't happen. You can't be able to get to the...
And Kirk, you
really all about.
As Herbert breaks it to the outside, he's got 9.
There's guys who can do more. So Kean Sloan is a outside linebacker / edge, but he has the ability to drop in coverage. And what Rob Leonard wants to do with this defensive fronts is guys who can play multiple spots, guys who can play on ball, off the ball. And we've seen Quay Walker, who played a similar position, who has that ability to play on and off. And then we also saw him today rush the passer. So you've got the ability with a lot of players, even in that secondary, who can play multiple spots.
To Herbert. The Niners are now up to 226 yards of offense, about 115, 116 on the ground. Kyle Shanahan heading into year 10. You know, the offense last year still humming 12-5 on the season, but running the football was not one of their strengths, right? Top 5 in passing. They were top 10 in scoring. But 24th in the league running the football, and you don't think of that when you have Christian McCaffrey, right? But they struggled to run between the tackles.
A lot of injuries. That's been the problem with our friends from the Bay Area, the 49ers. They've had, you know, you look at their, you know, the offseason report about the power lines and everything else. I mean, the soft tissue injuries that they've had, the quarterbacks missed starts, and you could look at Brock Purdy and. You know, it's hard. It's hard to win when you know he's ready to go week 1.
Martinez drilled as he throws, almost picked off. Beyond the arms of Watkins, almost picked off by Devin Perkins, the undrafted free agent out of Utah Tech.
It's just a nice job because you had a good rush. So you have a defender in the face of Martinez. And that time, staying on top of his coverage as Perkins almost makes a terrific play for the interception.
We talked about just getting your hands on more balls and ball extraction, getting the ball on the ground and creating some more negative plays.
Martinez on 3rd down, way over the head of Hodge. Again, it's Perkins in coverage, and so they will trot out Eddie Pinheiro to try a 58-yard field goal to try and take the lead.
That's 2 for 11 on 3rd down. Are the 49ers offense. This Raiders defense, you talked about it early on, Rich, is can they get off the field? And they've done it right now.
Pinheiro has been outstanding in his career from 50+. This is from 58, and it is good. He drilled that.
You know, I come back better than ever, and I know I'm in a great place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and the whole 9, and I'm just ready to come out here and help us win football games. That's why I work so hard. That's why I come out here and try to lead by example every single day, and I'm extremely excited, man. I love being in the silver and black. Everyone knows that, and I'm ready to get the stadium rocking.
You know, Max, I loved hearing you talk about some of the new defenders that are on this football team. When you talked about you lining up during practice, and you look behind you, you see Quay Walker, who's an off-the-ball line.
Obviously, X's and O's and all those things are important, but ultimately, you know this, Rich. Winning football comes down to who wants it more, and that style of play is everything that we're trying to instill right now, and we're getting better every single day, so it's really exciting to see.
Max, Kirk Cousins joined us yesterday in a pre-broadcast conversation that you've been a part of 100 times in your career. but he said this is his 15th training camp. It's maybe the most intense he's ever been part of.
And I know, you know, for myself, I pride myself on you know, leading from the front and being the guy that's going to set the tone every day. And so, you know, there's going to be times where you get into it, and there's going to be times where you know, you're going back and forth with teammates, and ultimately we're all in this together, and we got to push each other. If we want to win, if we want to be something that is respected across the whole world in this league, you got to be relentless, and there are a lot of great players on this team. We got a lot of great leaders, and you know, for me, I want to be the guy that, you know, sets the tone every single day, and you know, just see how guys respond.
This is a 3rd and 5, and they're going to blow it dead. A timeout taken. Clint Kubiak got in the official's ear before the play clock went out here.
Max, last one for me. In your 8 seasons, you've been around a lot of head coaches. What stood out to you? What's impressed you so far with Clint's message to the team since the spring?
Yeah, the most impressive thing is just he's the same guy every single. Right now it's not about September 13th in Miami. It's about being where your feet are at and being present. And I think he's doing an incredible job of pushing that message.
This is a 3rd and 5 here for Aiden O'Connell, and it's dropped. That was in a tight coverage. Cedric Jackson had his hands on it. So we may be looking at a tie once again.
I know.
I didn't remember, Max. I didn't remember this until this morning. But NFL's sending out their tweets and videos to pump up the final preseason game, and they sent out the final play of the Niners-Raiders from 2 years ago, 24-24 tie on a play that took like 45 seconds. I didn't remember that to this morning. Did you remember that 2 years ago?
Oh yeah, of course. You could ask me about my 3 on a 3rd and 8 or whatever it is. My football mind is something when it comes to memory that I feel like I excel at. So yeah, no, it's awesome, man. And obviously you have the 49ers, great organization coming from the Bay. The tension's going to be high in here. Doesn't matter if it's a preseason game. We're both trying to win. Yep. So you already know what it is. Shout out to Oakland too as well. All the fans.
Much different speed.
Martinez trying to get the screen. Oh man, the Raiders were all over that. Pair of rookies, Brandon Cleveland, Gary Smith III. That's a tackle for a loss of about 7. And it'll be second. Rich, everyone talks about special teams and how rookies make it. I know you were a quarterback. Did you ever want to? At some point in your life, you were like, can I run down and make a tackle on special teams?
I'll tell you a story. On my first year, I was the personal protector in training camp. I was, for the punt team, and actually was on the hands team.
It's a big broken run there for Herbert all the way. He picked up 16 yards.
Yeah, I was the 3rd quarterback in Minnesota behind Tommy Kramer and Wade Wilson, and the special teams coach at the time was a guy named Tom Batten. He says, "You're going to make you earn your paycheck." I'm like, "Really?" So I did that for a little while, and I was so bad at it that I didn't get it, which was probably a good thing. But I'm going to tell you, you have a different appreciation. We've all been there. You're down on the sidelines during a game, and the violence and how quick things happen. It's just it's a different speed altogether when you get to the regular season.
That's a 1st down run. Harvey finished off the tackle. The hole off the left side was pretty large.
When you could hear the hits from up here,
oh yeah,
you know it's real.
Well, it's a violent game.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Not for everybody, right? And it's got some nasty guys up front. Linderbaum leading the way.
You mentioned Linderbaum, and he said something to us a couple of weeks ago. We had him in there. He said, are you willing to go longer and harder than your opponent? I mentioned this earlier in the game. I just think that's his mindset. He's a tough, gritty guy. I think he's going to bring some more toughness to that group, more accountability, more leadership. And I just think I've been saying it all training camp, guys, that group, if they can come together and play as one and not have a lot of change up front, I think we got a chance to be a pretty good offense.
Martinez on 2nd and 9. Near midfield. Watkins having a heck of a game for the Niners. That is his 4th catch. Up to about 63 yards. That goes for 20. Up a lot in the preseason, and at best, he's looking at the 5th or 6th spot on the Niners at best.
Well, think about his former teammate, Deshaun Stribling, was their 2nd-round pick
this year.
And what he's shown in the preseason early on, they're really excited about that receiving group, along with Mike Evans as well.
Martinez trying to fire near side. That was deflected. Sailed over.
We will keep the actual time on the field.
All right, so John Hussey's got
John's
that
been busy tonight on that mic.
Yep.
I think he's ready for the regular season.
So we will do our best to let you know how much time is left here in the preseason. At the moment, the game clock shows 4:21 here in the 4th, and a 2nd and 10 for the Niners. Herbert on the ground, spins out of the 1st tackle, can't get away from Pegues. And it'll be 3rd down and long here for San Francisco. Yeah, but just to remind people how the waiver wire works, right?
Right.
When you are first on the waiver wire, it does not reset when you pick.
Well, there's always a lot of roster changes with teams, and I think we're going to see that here with the Raiders as well.
3rd and 10, they set up the screen. Herbert's got a lot of space and 2 blockers. He's got the first down. That's for 12 on 3rd and 10.
It's the perfect call for that defense. You get the defensive line getting up, and they've been penetrating. They've been getting up the field. And so what do you do to slow a defensive line down? Throw a little screen behind it. And that's where you see the big yardage for the 49ers right behind there. There's just nobody out there in the open field, and they create a first down.
You know, Clint Kubiak's over on the sideline knowing exactly what his brother's doing on the other side. He's getting Robbie Leonard's ear. And they're doing this. It's here McCormick. That's a good stick. Brandon Cleveland. The rookie who turned today 22 years old, celebrating his birthday with the tackle.
It's a big stop. One of those, the last draft pick of this draft class, right? A guy who they brought in, and cool for one player, but another player keeps popping up on the screen.
Raiders need to try and get off the field here. Niners are already in field goal range. It'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up, which will bring us to the 2-minute warning. Well, last week, Raiders had a last-minute victory come from behind. They're going to need to stop here, try and give Aiden O'Connell a chance. 2-minute warning.
At the moment.
Pinheiro from 51 gives the Niners the lead. That is Chris Myrick, the motion man. O'Connell starts with a completion to E.J. Williams. Short gain out to the 34, picked up 5. Rookie out of Indiana. Down to 90 seconds to go in the preseason. With protection again. Looking for Williams again, incomplete.
Tried a double move, it didn't work.
I think just the hurry up on that one. You had the positive play on 1st down. I think this is one that, when it's covered, it's covered. Just check it down. That one's a tough one that looks to be covered, Rich.
State. Now 3rd and 5 for the Raiders. They are 6 of 13 tonight on 3rd down, trying to make it 50%. O'Connell down the field, Jan Perkins, and he just overshot him. O'Connell took a major hit at the end of that throw, and now it's 4th down.
Yeah, he had to let it go before he wanted to. You had the wide open. It looked like it was Tompkins who was right open. Yeah, there he is, Tompkins right there. He had multiple steps on him, but Aiden O'Connell felt the pressure.
It's left, but you got to convert. Need to get across the 39-yard line. Keep this game going. O'Connell has room to run. Needs to get to the 39, and he's not going to get there. Sebastian Valdez with the stop, and the Raiders turn it over on downs.
One of the things we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast is that the Raiders have to find some receivers that can win and create some separation against man-to-man coverage. That, to me, is the big story coming out of preseason. Got to win. There's a lot of great cover corners in our game. And if you can't create separation, I don't care who your quarterback is, it's hard to
see what the Raiders do and how active they are after that. As a 1st down give to Herbert, who bounces off, no gain. Clint Kubiak takes his first of 2 timeouts. So do the math. Maybe get the stop on the next one with about 105, 106. Jake Moody was your kicker, and there was no confidence there. And then 3 games in, they had cut him. That's a different story with...
Get out of bounds.
Oh, did not get out of bounds. Slid down inbounds, and now Clint Kubiak with 105. Does take his final timeout. But you think about like Jake Moody, right? 3rd round pick, never worked out for the 49ers. They bring in Eddie Pinheiro last year during the season. His last 4 years, he is 108 of 119. That is 91%. And in his career, he's 17 of 21 from 50+. Tonight, he's 5 for 5.
Yeah, it's a real weapon when you have a kicker that can make clutch kicks. We missed short field goals. Then we went out and drafted a guy. Maybe you heard of him, Sebastian Janikowski.
Raw play, Sincere McCormick. down at the 35, and the clocks all went off in the building.
Wow.
So they, John Hussey did say the clocks have been malfunctioning. That one on your screen is correct. So maybe the Raiders get the ball with about 7 seconds left on the clock. It is put down. That kick is up. And he stays perfect. And there it is with 7 seconds left on the clock. 18, but rolls in, come out to the 20-yard line on the touchback. If you kick it all the way through, you come out to the 35. Remember, Raiders are out of timeouts.
I kick it out of the back of the end zone.
Kick it out of the back of the end zone?
Why? Yeah. Why even have an opportunity to return?
So look at Pinheiro. So his normal kickoffs tonight, he's been 2 yards behind the ball. And here he's lined up a full 5 yards.
You just kick it out of the back of the end zone.
It doesn't get all the way out, but they do take a knee, so it will come out to the 35. No time off the clock. Raiders are out of timeouts. Rich, you looking at maybe one, try to get 10, 15 yards, get out of bounds, and then throw the Hail Mary? What are you doing here? The way Jacob Clark's in the game, it's not even Aiden O'Connell.
How about that? Hey, go out there and throw a pick and go out there and throw an interception on a play that doesn't matter.
So people watching this game have not seen Jacob Clark. He has not taken a snap in the preseason. He has not really gotten reps, a ton of practice. Undrafted free agent, started his career at Minnesota, transferred to Missouri State. He's much bigger QB, throws it near side. Okwuegbunam does get out of bounds.
All right.
There are 3 seconds left on the clock, and so now you're looking at 58 yards of grass instead of 65.
And the other thing that he has to do is he has to be able to create some time. He has to be able to move around, because why? It's going to take a few seconds for the receivers to get down inside that 5-yard line where you can throw up a ball that you can catch. So if I'm the quarterback, I'm going to drop back, try and draw the rush.
It has been determined that the receiver was out of bounds, and therefore it is an incomplete pass.
Don't forget about what I just said.
Yeah, that's replay assist coming in to overturn that one.
You need a Doug Flutie play here.
But in the end zone? Don't worry about what happened Sunday. Well, they're not going for that. He throws it out to Tompkins. Clock is at 0, so play's going to end. The game is going to end when the play ends, and he does not even lateral it. And that is how the preseason will come to an end. We do not get a 30-second play with a ton of laterals to offensive linemen. We have the preseason coming to an end as the Raiders finish 1